Racing in the Vendée Globe, you're doing a round the world race, solo, offshore, on your own, is about as far from normal as you can possibly get.
It's the absolute peak of sporting endeavour. You know, there's no other sport that you're pushing yourself and your equipment so hard for so long.
It's just the most harsh of environments. It is one of the hardest things to do left in sport.
Just picture that, you're on your own, on a 60-foot boat, sailing around the entire world, non-stop.
The Vendée Globe is the absolute pinnacle for me of not just offshore racing, but all sports. I think it's the toughest challenge that there is left.
It's one man, one boat, one race course against the others. For something that is such a complex machine to build, the race itself is very simple. It is one man, one boat round the world.
If you sit and look at a map and actually think about it, it's a long way around, and it's you on your own doing it.
When you race on those boats on your own, there is no one there to help you. There is no one to turn to. Your only chance of rescue in many waters in the world is another competitor, and they could be hundreds or thousands of miles away from you.
I have a huge amount of admiration for Alex, and in fact any skipper that decides to go offshore solo sailing, because you're very consciously putting yourself in an area of massive risk but huge reward.
If you mess up and you fall off your boat, put a hole in your boat, you are most likely not going to be saved. You cannot count on it. Whereas most sports out there, you mess up and someone will come with a pickup truck or something to fix it, or to come and rescue you, or an ambulance will come and save you. These guys, when they do this, are knowing that if they mess up, then it could be their lives. Makes it very different.
None of us can really comprehend what it is like to be alone for 3 months at sea, battling heavy weather in this enormous boat, only having yourself to rely on. I would find it incredibly hard being alone out there. I think that for me is the toughest part in this day and age where we have so many stimuluses every day and we're so connected to each other, that I know that he can talk to people out there, but he is alone and he's only got himself to rely on.
I think that many of us fear moments where we feel vulnerable, or when we're alone, when we're in the darkness, when we're faced with a dangerous situation. These skippers are faced with those situations around the clock on their own at sea.
This sport appeals to anybody, whether you're interested in sport or whether you're not interested in sport, whether you understand sailing or not, because it is about human endeavour. When that person is out there and they're on the boat in the middle of the ocean on their own, completely isolated, it's about the fact that that man or woman has left their family, their home, their comfort zone to sail around the world to achieve something. The sport is incredibly competitive. If you look at the last 2 Vendée Globes, the first and second place have finished within 24 hours of each other after racing 26,000 miles around the world, which is just such a tiny difference. So the competitive element is critical.
There is such a huge human interest story there. It is very difficult not to relate to the stories of the skippers. There are so many wonderful stories that we hear and that we read about. And I think that if you're a fan of sport, you're a fan of entertainment, you're a fan of adventure and human endeavour, you will find something in ocean racing that will excite and entertain you and will humble you.
No other sport where you're out there and you're alone and you can't get any assistance and you're in one of the harshest environments for 70 days, racing around the world in a custom-made machine that's never been around the world before. You know, it's a high-risk thing, so the pressure's on, it's emotional. The public can see that. I think they really warm to the skippers and the story. And I think for that reason, people can actually feel what these guys go through, and you can't deny that it is extremely tough, you know, and high risk. You know, these guys are heroes that do this race.